Hello. You caught in here just in time. Okay, we're just starting now. So I'm just gonna go over a lot of the fundamental things at the start. For example, I'm gonna start with bunker tech, which is, if you go in game, it's where you click on the bunker, you interact with the bunker base, and it shows the tech on the right side. There, it's split into 3 separate trees: base, command, and garrison. The base upgrades are for AI. This large garrison does basically nothing except you can upgrade the bunker base to tier 3, like this one currently is, as long as you have concrete tech as well. And then provisional garrison unlocks the ability to activate the bunker's AI radius of 80 meters if 10 players have their spawn set on the base. Small garrison is the permanent AI. Yeah, I already went over large garrison. World bases such as town halls, relic bases, and safe houses also have that base tech tree with the provisional small and large garrison. So bunkers do not have to be directly under a bunker base's AI to function. They will also work underneath those other AI sources. The AI range of town halls and relic bases is 150 meters. Safe houses have 100 meters. And then bunker bases and fobs are 80 meters. The AI is a magical radius around the base and bunkers do not need to be connected in order to shoot at collies. They just have to be underneath that radius to function. However, to build a bunker garrison, which is upgrading a blank piece into something that shoots, such as this can be upgraded into many different things. In order to build that, it must be directly connected to the bunker, which this is connected through this trench into this engine room, and it wraps around all the way to the core here. So it does have tech, and that is how it receives the tech to be able to build the garrisons. Okay. Yep, and you can see what garrisons are powered by AI by looking at the flag. I don't have any examples of AI being off, but this is a full flag. That when this is all the way looking like this, then it has AI. When the flag is about half of this length, it still has AI, but that means it has lost its AI source. So like, for example, a bunker core that it was using has recently been destroyed, and the AI will shut off within 10 minutes after it loses its AI source. So it's during that grace period is whenever you see a half flag. And then when you see a small triangle flag, that means there is no AI and it will not shoot at enemies. You can still man the bunker manually, but it will not automatically shoot back at anything. Do we have any questions so far over any of that stuff? Nope. Okay. The maximum tech distance you can like connect bunkers is 40 connections. So, for example, with one connection is one individual piece. So, for example, this rifle garrison is 3 connections from the core, because there's the core. And there's 1 triangle here, 2, and then it is the 3rd piece. Oh my gosh, amazing! Connection timed out. You love to see it. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just making sure my entire internet didn't cut out, because Foxhole hated me. Okay. So that's convenient. Foxhole just kicking me out of the game in the middle of the training. Let's go. I don't even get my spot back, so I gotta run back. So you can go 40 connections is the limit. 1 trench is 10 meters. So in theory, you can trench tech and connect a bunker 400 meters from the core and still upgrade it to, for example, a howitzer garrison if you have the appropriate tech, even though it's 400 meters away from the base. Conversely, you can also run into problems with tech snaking around way too much, like I ran into problems with this base. I didn't, uh, because there's such long pieces and stuff, I had tech basically like snaking through the center and then back, yeah, towards the back of another piece, and then connecting across, and then I was running into problems with tech not reaching somewhere that's like 50 meters from the bunker base, and I didn't even have the tech for it, so then I had to run a trench across over here to actually get tech over there. So that's stuff you'll have to, uh, those are problems you can run into really easily to watch out for. Okay, where was I? Okay, so back to the tech tree. So the garrison and command trees on the bunker require a specific number of garrison modifications. Well, here's the garrison tree. This is the command tree. By hovering over your cursor onto the pictures, it will show you how many garrison modifications or command modifications you need and how many you have. This interface only updates about every 10 minutes or so, so don't panic if, for example, you toss in four garrison mods to quickly tech rifle garrisons. If it doesn't show up right away, it's probably just between the bunker base UI resets, the updates. So don't panic if it still shows 0 to 4, but you have 4 and it's directly connected. Just wait about 10 minutes and come back and see if it's updated properly. So yeah, you can. So for the amount of these also take different amounts of time to tech. So rifle garrisons are very quick. It's like 15 minutes. Anti-tank garrisons take a lot longer. They take 12 hours to tech when you're focusing tech through voting. Howitzer garrisons are 2 days of tech dedicated to that. Observation bunkers are about 4 hours. Concrete is 24 hours. Deployment point is 2 days. Advanced bunkers is 3 days. And I'll go back over provisional garrisons, like 30 minutes or an hour, something like that. Small garrison is 12 hours, and large garrison is 2 days. And I'll go back to my notes. Okay, here I talk about the tech speed. Those numbers I just listed off are with essentially max tech speed with a vote into it. So, for example, if I set my home spawn and I click deployment point, that funnels all of the progress of the tech of the bunker base into that vote, into what you're voting on. And if somebody else sets their spawn point and doesn't vote, it will still progress everything into the one vote that's there. But if 2 people vote and they vote on different things, it will split the tech then. So you only need 1 person to vote specifically, and it will funnel all of your progress into one thing. So these subregions, they show starting territory, either friendly or enemy. Okay, that's still friendly. This is tragedy. Anyways, okay. This is neutral/enemy starting territory. What that is important for is how fast your bunker techs. In friendly starting territory, it is really easy to get max or very close to max tech speed with just shoving some stuff into the bunker. Like, you only need like 500 BMATs worth of items to get it teching basically at max speed. But in enemy starting territory, it's much more difficult to get tech up, the tech speed up. So, for example, with a full Logi pyramid in the bunker base, you're still only going to be roughly like 50 to 75% of tech speed as you would a bunker in friendly territory with 500 BMATs. So, having your spawn set on the bunker is pretty important for providing activity to bunkers in enemy starting territory, because that's just how the game functions. Devs hate us. They don't want us to be able to build our gains. So that is what these starting territory friendly or enemy means. That's the only mechanic in the game that matters for, is bunker and industry tech and stuff like that. Do we have any questions right now? Okay. Okay. I already listed off the times to complete these different techs. Already mentioned 40 connections, trench 10 meters long. Okay. Okay, here we go into decay. Decay is, well, one of the biggest enemies of bunkers. Each piece decays, consumes 1 MSUP per hour. When it's not, when it is decaying, it consumes that. But when bunker pieces are recently upgraded or built, they have a decay grace period before they start decaying again. So that way, your freshly built bunker doesn't instantly start decaying, and you have to hammering it instantly. It gives you some grace period to be able to get MSUPs and stuff like that after building. So after tier 1 bunkers like this, these start decaying after 12 hours. They decay very quickly after being built. Same with trenches. Trenches have the same decay grace as regular bunkers. So even though I built this last night, it is decaying by now. So that's fun. Anyways, tier 2 bunkers, such as, the wooden, this engine room here, that has 1 day of decay grace before it starts decaying. And tier 3 has 3 days. So right now, a lot of this concrete is less than 3 days old, so a lot of the base is not decaying right now. So for example, this maintenance tunnel had like 9.5k last night before I went to sleep. I wake up, still got 8.7k, because a lot of these pieces are not decaying right now and not consuming maintenance supplies. However, there's nothing to really tell you what's going on in the maintenance tunnel tooltip. It just tells you how many structures can be supplied by this maintenance tunnel, not how many really are. So this can be really deceiving where, oh hey, it shows it's only consuming, it should consume 300 per hour or whatever, and then it only consumes 100 because most of the pieces are still in decay grace. If you get used to that, and then the 3 days after your concrete runs out and it starts decaying again, that can really catch you off guard. So that can be a problem you run into. So yeah, and maintenance tunnels, they have a 100-meter range, which is larger than a bunker, which is nice, and you can adjust it. And you can also adjust what categories of structures you want to supply. So for example, if you got a bunch of shipping containers or something just sitting around doing nothing, or empty pallets, you don't feel like killing them, you can turn that off, as long as you don't have EATs and concrete mixers and other shippable stuff that you want to keep around. You can't individually say, oh, I want EATs and I don't want liquid containers. You don't have that type of micromanagement, but the broad categories you can switch on and off. Okay. Okay, so now we get into more of the fun parts of building, which is Now I'm going to go over HP and integrity system. So I'll just stream this right now. All the bunker pieces connected to each other share the same HP pool, but HP gets reduced by the integrity of all the individual pieces multiplied together. Each individual piece has an integrity of less than 1, so integrity always decreases with the more pieces you add. Integrity improves with tier, so a tier 3 bunker pattern can have more pieces before reaching diminished returns than a tier 1 or tier 2 bunker. Garrisons also have worse integrity than blank bunker pieces, so each garrison added sacrifices some potential maximum HP. Bunker ramps, corners, and regular squares have the exact same health and integrity. So here I have it listed the HP and integrity of each type of bunker. And this is all tier 1, here's tier 2, here's tier 3. As you can see, tier 1 with no garrison has 85% integrity, which is the exact same as a concrete howitzer garrison. So you kind of want to mentally think of howitzer garrisons they have a big impact on integrity. They are the same as no tier 1 garrison. So the integrity gets better with each tier, and a tier 3 bunker with no garrison at all, so just a regular square or a triangle, has 99% integrity. So it provides a lot of HP with very little downside. Okay. And also you can see that the HP of like the higher tier bunkers is not much different than the HP of low tier bunkers. But the main strength of higher tier bunkers is their better resistance to damage and their integrity. So, for example, tier 2 bunkers only have 25% damage resistance against explosive damage types, which is the most common type of damage in the game. That's your artillery, that's your tremolo, that's your RPG, that's your 40 millimeter, that's all that stuff. It only has 25% damage resistance, but concrete has 75% damage resistance, which means it has effectively 3 times more health versus those damage types because they're taking so much less damage. However, demolition damage, like 250 millimeter, hydras, satchels, havoc charges, do not get mitigated by bunker resistances. So the HP is effectively the same between tier 2 and tier 3 with in regards to resistance. So, okay. The big part, sure, I'll go into that now. So if you're looking at, for example, tier 2 bunkers, you can only really put on 2 ATs before integrity becomes a massive problem. Because each time you add an AT garrison, you're essentially reducing the bunker's HP by 18%. But you're adding 1,650 raw HP. By the time you add like the third AT garrison, you're starting to hit breakpoints of not adding any more HP when you're adding more bunkers to the pattern. But if you go to tier 3, AT garrison only reduces the HP of the pattern by 7% because it's 93% integrity. So you can have a lot more garrisons on before you hit the breakpoint of diminishing returns. Do we have any questions so far? About any of this?
I don't know if you're going to cover this later, but do you know why when you disconnect bunkers in the middle, they lose HP?
Oh, like you demo a piece that's connected to 2 others on either
Mhm.
side?
Yeah.
No, that's just like a bug. Yeah. I'm
Oh,
pretty
okay.
sure that's just a bug. It's not really supposed to do that. It just kind of does.
Got it.
It is sometimes useful if you actually want to get rid of a piece, like instead of just
Yeah,
throwing a bunch of mammons on it, you'll still have to throw some, but you can at least get it down a bit just by
yeah,
doing that.
yeah. It reduces the amount of friendly fire that you have to do, so you can avoid getting weapons locked if it's like a massive piece you're wanting to demo or something.
Yeah, I've definitely been doing it. I was wondering if there are like rules behind it or some sort of logic.
No, I'm pretty sure it's just a bug. I don't know of any specific uh, like rules behind that. Okay, I think that's it for like the fundamental stuff. So now I'm gonna go into general, just like how you should build your base, what things to think about, what uh what's like the purpose of your base and stuff like that, and different patterns roughly that are better for some situations than others. So when you're placing your core, you want the number one consideration is the AI range of 80 meters from a bunker core whenever you're placing some bunker down. For example, uh, if you're building on a bridge, you want to build 80 meters back from the bridge so the AI can reach all the way up and you can fit as many patterns as you want in between the bridgehead and the bunker base. Because patterns behind the bunker base don't do any good because they'll lose their AI and they'll be killed easily. So you want your bunker patterns in between the point that they're attacking from. This bunker base looks like it's built to defend from the north, understandably, but this is a very bad situation if they attack from the south onto this bunker base. So that is, sorry, I had to cough. That is something to keep in mind. AI range is the number one thing to consider when placing down your bunker core. Um, I think I'll go into general like pattern designs, uh, and go over some of the rules regarding that. I'll go to the front of the pattern to kind of showcase that a little bit. So garrisons cannot be placed directly next to each other unless you're like kind of exploiting using curving, which I'm not going to cover curving here. I'm going to keep this basic. So these bunkers also, if this was a square piece, this would not be possible normally if they're connected by a square. But because it's a triangle, for some reason the game lets you build garrisons touching corner to corner when they're connected by a corner piece. Don't ask me why. That's just how it is. If this piece I'm standing on now was a square, you would only be able to upgrade one of these squares touching because they would register as adjacent. Um, so that is one thing to keep in mind. Uh, there is a simple way around this. It's called checkerboarding, where you build and upgrade the individual garrisons alone, disconnected, and you're like space them out by placing a blueprint here and like placing those blueprints, destroying the blueprint I'm standing on. So then you have two perfectly spaced bunkers uh, that are touching corner to corner, but they aren't connected, so they don't count as adjacent. So then you build and fully concrete these two squares, and then you build the extra square connecting them together, and that's how you would get garrisons touching corner to corner like this. That and checkerboarding is really useful for facility defense because you can build a solid wall of highly dense garrisons that aren't climbable because they're like rifle garrisons. And you want to have that blank piece that's connecting the pieces be on the backside, so that way they can't climb the square base, the square piece. Um, so that's what checkerboarding is mainly for. It's not very good on front lines because of The arcs are really limited by just how close together the bunkers are. So the rifle garrisons, it's like you only have to suppress one rifle garrison on the front line to run in on a checkerboard design. So it's not very useful on checkerboards, but it also means if somebody tries to penetrate through the bunker piece without destroying it, they have to suppress like 4 different garrisons, because on the back side, all the rifle garrisons in a line are open and able to shoot across at each other. I'll just pull up Foxhole Planner quick. Yeah, Foxhole Planner is your greatest friend when designing bunkers. So here I'll just throw out a basic checkerboard to illustrate what I'm talking about. So here, AT, rifle, rifle, rifle. Okay, so these, you can see these rifle garrison arcs in the orange, they cross each other really well on the backside. So checkerboarding is the pattern is designed to protect other things and not itself. It's designed to prevent partisans from getting through the piece and not to prevent itself from being destroyed, because there's a massive blind spot. Well, it's not massive, but there's a sizable blind spot on the front of the AT here, and you only really have to suppress one of the rifle garrisons, and you can just run in here, and infantry's really can do whatever they want here. It's a little pocket that they can lay havocs and stuff like that. So checkerboarding is not very good on a front line, but it is great for defending facilities, because partisans have a limited amount of firepower they can pack with them. Whatever they have in their vehicle and on their bodies is all they're working with. They are looking for the weak targets of your blast furnace and engineering center in a facility, and high value targets like that. And generally, one thing, a general concept when designing bunkers is the strength of the bunker is its HP times its firepower. Because if a bunker has 15 AT garrisons and can nuke anything that touches it, you can still roll 5 ballistas up, and if they shoot first, then the bunker will die before it can retaliate, because 15 AT garrisons has very little HP. Let's test that out. Foxhole Planner is amazing for stuff like this. Let's just say theoretically you have 15 AT garrisons together, and let's see how quickly it would die to a ballista. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, this is 33% integrity, because 15 times, or yeah, 0.93, which is the integrity of AT garrisons. Yep, 0.93. 0.93 times 15, or not, well, it's times itself 15 times. So yeah, you end up with 33% integrity. This 15-piece bunker only has 8,000 HP. So it only takes 9 250mm shots to kill it, which you line up 9 ballistas. They only have to shoot once, and even if they die instantly after hitting the bunker, you still kill the bunker very quickly. So having 15 AT garrisons is not actually an effective defense against vehicles, because the strength of the bunker is offense times defense, which defense in this situation is HP. So what you want to do is find the happy sweet spot between how much firepower you can pack into a design that also like covers infantry angles and stuff with MGs and stuff, with also having as much HP as possible. So for examples of this, on Discord, BBB, they are great. They've got pattern designs and stuff for people to use. That is their current like building doctrine, is to fit as many garrisons into as small of a space as possible with as much HP as well. So they're trying to find the trade-off between firepower and health. And a lot of a lot of designs currently are like 3 or 4 AT garrisons with like 5-ish, like 4 or 5 infantry garrisons where like they alternate between AT and MG in between. I guess I don't have any triangles yet here. You know, it'd probably be faster just pulling it up on Discord. Better Building Bureau. Better Building Bureau has a pattern directory down here, and here are a bunch of different meta patterns that people have designed. And a lot of them, tank killer. Where's one I definitely, ballistic killer. Here's a pretty classic design. You see, it's got 3 AT garrisons, and it's got 4 MGs covering the flanks beside it. And you can notice the garrisons are packed in nice and tight to try and reduce the amount of area it covers. More firepower in less area with more HP is what you're looking for in designing these bunkers. So yeah, a lot of the bunkers naturally come out to around 40 to 50% integrity because of that balance that they're looking for. Do we have any questions so far on any of this stuff? I feel like I'm jumping all over the place, so I'm expecting questions.
Everything
We
makes
good?
sense to me so far.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah.
Okay. What else do I want to cover? Oh yeah, I'm gonna quickly cover what we call cursed corners or corner cutting. It's a way to build build patterns that wouldn't be available otherwise through blueprinting the corner of a bunker. But you then don't build it out as the corner, is the thing. So, let's see here. How could I... I'll just do a quick demonstration out in the front open area. So, for example, there are... Bunkers are... they hate us, okay? So, if you are to build a bunker like this, for some reason, the game hates you, and you cannot build a square off of this angle, in this pattern, because of this corner. This corner right here is obstructing me placing this square here. Even though it doesn't look like it, that's what's going on. So, in order to place a pattern like this, let's first sort of box in. So, this square right here that I'm standing on, I will build as a square. I will then blueprint this square back, this corner, I mean, back, and then that will allow me to place a bunker here, and then I will be able to build this as a corner, and this other square should snap into the spot that's left behind. So I'll just do a quick demonstration. Oh, I gotta put another piece here. So you gotta have these squares to like box in the patterns where you want to make sure you've got it spaced perfectly. So then you delete these quick. Dig this out. This will take about a minute. But,
So the cursed corner pattern while you're working on this always
yes.
seems to it curves in one direction, I kind of want to say.
It doesn't curve. All of the bunkers line up perfectly. You're not really curving
Right.
anything.
Right, sorry. I meant more like it, the pattern turns the bunker line, right, in a certain direction, but how would you place it in the other way without having the triangle blank outside? Like, is that possible? Am I making sense here?
Like without having these spare pieces to sort of
No, no, no.
give you
Like the
guides.
spare pieces are fine, but I mean, like, is there a way? So the you're trying to get two square bunkers, right? That are at an angle, basically.
Oh, curving?
No, no, no. The in the cursed corner, right? You end up with two. The
Ah,
issue is
okay, yeah.
that right, the squares can't be placed right at that angle. Is there any
Yeah.
way to do it with the other facing of that angle? Does that make sense at all?
Um,
No, I think I'm. Why don't I kind of try to?
there's the other, if you're using this, no curse corner is like necessary to, it's buildable on both sides. Uh, people, uh, people want to use curse corners because it gives like, it's tighter. Like, you see this flat side instead of being forward, it it just changes the angle. It just changes where the square sits just so slightly, and it opens up better in different patterns. Uh, is the main reason it gets used. Does that
Yeah.
answer your question?
I'm trying to draw like a diagram right now to make this make more sense.
Okay. Anyways,
Um.
back to this. Here we'll blueprint that, and that allows us to. I fucked it up apparently. This is awkward. Oh, I needed to start with this one. I need to. Okay, I'm dumb. Wrong way. Okay, I needed to start with this one. And then I can blueprint this corner out of the way. Oops. But yeah, hopefully you guys can see the concept I'm going for is you build a square, you blueprint it to a corner piece, you don't actually upgrade it to the corner piece, and you can place a pattern where you otherwise wouldn't be able to.
So you have to try and build the new square before the blueprint disappears, or can you
Yes. Or
dig
you
the
can put
blueprint
you
briefly
can put
and
in a
destroy
couple
it?
B mats into it as well to hold it in place if you need more
Right.
time to place it as well. And
And
then
then
you can
just
just
shoot it
pop,
with
yeah,
this
you can
one.
just shoot the blueprint and it will pop back to a regular square. Yes.
Randy, I sent an image in the infrastructure chat, and I just wanted to check if like you knew anything that would be able to that made sense.
I'm trying to think. Can you explain this a bit more?
So in the bottom right is the cursed corner, right? And you can
Yes.
see that if I were to build checkerboarding with a cursed corner, I would be following those red arrows going in that direction, right?
Yes.
But what if I want that means I can like wrap right around something, right? I can have like a convex line.
Okay,
Or
convex versus concave is what you're looking for.
yeah.
Okay.
And is there a concave version of the cursed corner? Right, because like you can imagine
Um,
like there is this, right, where I can just put in the triangle, but I'm wondering if this is this climbable? Right, like
So let me go back real quick. Uh, I'm not 100% sure. I
I think
think
that's
it is because it's on the
yeah.
front of the AT, and the front
That
of
is
the AT is curved, so there's more room here. So you'd
I
probably be
think
able to climb
that's
it.
actually a weird case where I think at tier 2 it's not climbable. I might be wrong, but tier 3 that's definitely climbable.
Yeah, because the front of the AT is curved at tier 3, so there's quite a large gap here. So I believe that would be climbable.
this might not be the right time to ask this question then, but like, do you know of any patterns that could basically
Um, I could try and
like get around?
I think I did have I might have had a post I might have some patterns I can show you.
Okay,
I th- I'm- I think that I think it should be relatively easy without using cursed corners. So I think let's see, you can probably is a way. Let me. I'm just fiddling right now, real quick. Actually, no.
I'm just trying to figure out some unclimbable version of that fits into checkerboarding.
Well,
But
I
it sounds
guess
like this probably isn't like the in scope of what we want to do today.
not quite. Anyways, I think there is a way to just like mash a bunch of triangles together in different orientations to achieve that. I feel pretty confident there is a way to do that. It'd just be mashing enough triangles together because triangles just offset patterns just a little bit. I'm pretty sure there would be a way to do that and have it not be
Sure.
climbable.
I think I interrupted your explanation of cursed corners. If you want to go back to
Are
that,
you
Oh
in
yes, yes, yes,
BBB,
yes.
Humishi?
I am. We can go over it later, I guess.
Yeah. So here is I'm gonna actually do the cursed corner this time with the blueprint. So right now I cannot place this, but when I finish this and then I blueprint the corner on this square, it will allow me to place that triangle. And then we blueprint it this way, and while it's blueprinted, we can place it. And then this will time out, and then voila, it lets us snap in, and we have made this pattern that would not be possible without using the blueprint corner trick. There's other use cases where you can do some funny things with this, where you can blueprint that, and then you can really like clip into the bunker with that. So these are actually over each other.
You
So
can
yeah,
also clip yourself into a bunker.
I haven't ever done that, but that's funny. Let me try it right now
It's very easy. You might get yourself stuck though.
for science. Yay! Thank you, Sammy. So now I'm stuck. Anyways, I don't know if I'm gonna doing any more shoveling demonstrations. Anyways, so that is basic cursed corner. Um, so trying to think what else I need to go over. I went over checkerboarding, done cursed corner. Um, I went over generally what you're looking for frontline versus backline defense. Backlines, you'll want rifles because of their massive firing angles, and you'll want unclimbable defenses. Frontline, you don't care about them being able to climb near as much anyways, because you're going to have people there because it's a front line. Um, and on the front line, you'll probably want to use MGs because they will mow down infantry when they do fire way better than rifles. Because on the front line, the bunker is trying to protect itself. In the back line, the bunker is trying to protect what's behind it. That is the major difference between frontline and backline designs. Um, uh, Any other questions right now? I feel like I've got a lot more I could go over. I just can't think of it right now. There's a lot more, but that is the basics of building right now. Is and again, Foxhole Planner is your friend whenever you're designing these bunkers. Oh, I forgot about repair rate. That's what I forgot. Okay, so the repair rate of a bunker, which is like how much HP you are getting per BMAT hit, um, does not change based off of integrity because well, the base repair cost, I should say, the repair cost does not change based on integrity, but the amount of effective HP you gain per hammer hit does get affected by integrity because of well, integrity mod is the percentage of like the total HP of the bunker that it has. So the lower integrity your bunker has, the less HP you are going to be repairing per hammer hit. So this is important when you're trying to think about bases where you don't think you can get howitzer garrisons up in enemy territory in time or something, and it's late game, so there's 150 millimeter raining all over the place. You'll probably want to go with slightly smaller bunkers, so that way you can try to at least have a chance at repair tanking against a like 2-gun artillery barrage. Um, Compared to if you have a massive 40% integrity bunker versus a smaller 60% integrity bunker. The 60% integrity bunker will have essentially 50% faster repair than the 40% integrity bunker. So that's something to uh, think about when it comes to uh, repair rate in particular. It's also versus tremolas as well. Just infantry chip damage. It's nice to have a decent repair rate from so that way you don't get chipped to death essentially. So, but if the bunker's dead and because it got bursted right away, you can't repair it. So it's a balancing act between HP and repair rate. You don't want to go so high on HP that your integrity is tanking and you can't actually out repair, but you don't want a really good repair rate without much HP because then people won't even be able to react in time to repair. So it's a balancing act, and that's one of the reasons I like building is because there's so many different trade-offs you can do uh, between repair rate and like how much HP, how many garrisons and stuff. Um, I guess I also didn't go over the individual garrisons and what they do. So, AT garrison, it does AT things. When it takes damage, it will retaliate up to 60 meters and like keep shooting until it's dead, you're dead, or you're out of range. So that's what AT garrisons do. And they automatically start shooting at things within its range uh, at within 25 meters, I think. I haven't actually looked at the actual testing on this recently.
Can you I don't know if you're already going to go into this, but can you go into some of like the concept of how Howie backpacks actually work?
Yes,
Like,
I can. I'll go into that after I finish AT and MG.
okay,
Yeah. So, yeah, this is what AT garrisons do. They essentially shoot think of them as an EAT in a bunker that can retaliate up to 60 meters. They shoot AP like 68 millimeter shells, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's how you can sort of visualize it as you're building. And MGs they shoot machine guns. They are much better against smoke grenades than rifle garrisons. Rifle garrisons if you toss a smoke grenade in front of a rifle garrison, you can almost run all the way up to the rifle garrison without even getting tagged by the rifle garrison. With an MG garrison, you're lucky to get within 10 meters of it running through a smoke grenade, because it's just the volume of fire from an MG makes it much more effective against smoke grenades, and also like HE rushes. It will mow down HE Mammon rushes way faster than rifles will. Rifles will kill like one person every 3 seconds. The MG will kill somebody basically every second, or even faster than that when it's retaliating. I also want to mention power. The only thing power does is it gives your garrisons the range they would in daytime at night. That's all it does. This is what power does. One engine room is enough to power 5 garrisons, as long as the observation bunker isn't in the network, and then it's you can only power 3 garrisons if an observation bunker is also in the power network. And you generally want your power networks broken up into individual networks as much, just for like redundancy, because if you have 2 engine rooms in one network powering 10 garrisons, if you lose one engine room, all 10 garrisons get blacked out and they don't get enough power to operate. But if you have them split into 2 networks, you'll only lose power on 5 of the garrisons if one of the engines gets knocked out. Does that make sense? On decentralized power.
Yeah.
So, okay. Also, so yeah, that's power. Just makes them garrisons essentially immune to nighttime, and the range against unpowered garrisons. You can notice in game if it's nighttime. Hopefully it's still night, and it's not. Anyways, but you will notice a light ring around your character. That is the same range garrisons will shoot at you at night. So at midnight, that can get down to like, I don't know, 10 meters or something. So you need to account for that if there's like gaps in your defenses you're wanting to cover. Just realize that people can sneak through at midnight if stuff's not powered. Because that is the range stuff will shoot at you with. And I'm still trapped. Oh well. Anyways. And going back to howitzer garrisons now. So, go back. Okay, so howitzer garrisons. They retaliate at any source of HE damage. They shoot back. I think they shoot back, 3 times or something per time they're hit? At least I'm pretty sure it's that way with 120. I don't know, it's like 3 to 5 times or something like that. They will retaliate. So what you want to do with Howie backpacks is you want to clump more than one together. So a good number, I think, is about 5. Let's just smack them together real quick. Let's, for example, let's say the front line's to the south. So we'll aim 2 that way. Here's a really quick Howie backpack. And the reason why 4 together is better than 1 as like 4 singular Howie garrisons is when one of these gets hit, because they're all connected and they share an HP pool, all 4 of them shoot back. And because all 4 of them, this is a bigger bunker than a single piece, it's also more likely to get hit. Howie backpacks are kind of the opposite concept of frontline pieces, where you want frontline pieces as compact as possible. You kind of want your howitzer backpacks like kind of as big as reasonably possible, so that way they're more likely to get hit, and then there's more hellfire returning at what just shot at them. So I am an advocate of, like, on frontline patterns, you only want like one howitzer max because of their low integrity. They have 85% integrity. Well, as a singular piece, all singular pieces act as 100% integrity. So you won't actually see the integrity until you connect a second piece to it, and you see 84%. So yeah, that's why that is a big part of Howie backpacks. And you also want to have Howie backpacks hug your frontline pieces as close as possible. So it's harder for artillery to only hit your forward piece without accidentally hitting the Howies behind it as well.
Are you basically just waiting for relying on dispersion to?
Yeah, pretty much. So every Howie backpack, like the minimum you can have, like distance between the front and behind it is like 5 meters because you're gonna want to bunker in front of the Howie backpack. Um, Artillery will always, like, if they aim perfectly, they will always be able to hit the front piece every once in a while without hitting the Howie backpacks. However, colonial artillery is, I think, has a minimum like dispersion radius of like 30 meters or something. So they would have to, if they want to make sure they never hit this, they would have to aim 30 meters in front of it, and then the shell can land anywhere within like 30 meters of that point. So in order to avoid hitting the howitzer garrisons, they will be shelling the open land, and like 70% of their shells will be misses as well.
Ah, I see.
So, yeah, basically that is the concept of like, well, if you avoid the Howie backpack, you're also going to be missing a ton. So we'll be able to out repair that. Is sort of the
So
concept behind it.
if the wind picks up in the right way.
Yeah, and also the wind can pick up, and ta-da, they accidentally hit two separate Howie traps that have 4 Howies each, and they're getting hit by 8 howitzer shells. And so, like, it can be, yeah, you can end up with accidentally deleting an entire artillery battery's cannons with 8 howitzers retaliating at the same time if they mess up. Somebody accidentally increases distance by two ticks instead of one, lands a shell in between two separate Howie traps, and then and splashes them both, and then they end up with a bunch of Howies shooting back. So, and also these Howies do have like 180-degree range, firing, not 180,
That was
120.
120.
Yeah, 120. I just misspoke. So yeah, just as a visual guide of how the firing arc on the Howies, it's 120 degrees. So a lot of times you can use, like, you want to mix in angled Howies as well, so that way you still have more firepower pointing forward. So you can do a 5-piece backpack like this or something, and then you've got one pointed each direction with, like, you're gonna have 3 Howies able to shoot straight back, and then you've got a nice range of double retaliation on different arcs and stuff. So, um, thank you, Keo. I would have completely forgot about that and skipped over that if you hadn't mentioned anything. Do we have other glaring things I just completely skipped that anyone can think of? I guess there's another building tip I want to mention. I guess there's a couple more. You want to cover your roads with AT garrisons facing the road, because tanks will rush down the road and run through your base if you let them. So you want to make sure you have some ATs facing the road to prevent that. And also, LUVs can go really fast, especially like colonial Argonauts. So if ATs aren't angling towards the road, an AT or a Jeep can zip right down the road and probably get through here before these forward ATs can even turn to shoot. So that is why having some ATs facing the road directly, so that way they can, the second the Jeep's in range, the gun's already pointed at them to nuke them. That's why having ATs facing the road is important. And you can't just rely on nearby ATs facing forward. It's also good to have a gate to slow them down as well during road rushes. I should have one here, honestly. This base is kind of weak. Ideally, you want like 3 ATs covering the road. But here I only have 2. It is admittedly weak, but
Is there any reason that we don't just put like all AT on a zipper, or like like 2/3 AT? Because on a zipper it's always like 3 AT, 3 rifle garrisons.
just to like kill the people that get out. Like 1 AT shell will disable an LUV, but when it's disabled, the crew will jump out and
Okay,
then
okay.
like for example, if they're carrying havocs or something, they'll be able to pick up the havocs and run into the base still, uh,
See.
and still get the job done
Is
because
there
they
any sense to
bypass.
putting MGs on zippers instead of rifles?
You can either one. Either one works. Typically on the back edge, you'll want a rifle garrison just to like cover the greatest area. But yeah, it's common to see MGs on zippers as well because MGs are good against LUVs too. Actually, well, they won't kill them like fast, but like they'll kill them if they kill them relatively quick, I should say. So.
Can you also kind of just briefly go over when? So like I know there's a lot of times people talk about certain placements block line of sight on certain things.
Hmm.
Um,
Yes.
but so for like a rifle garrison, right? Like right now where you're standing, let's say you're standing a bit to the right. Does that triangle piece block the rifle garrison from hitting you,
Um.
or
It is if I go prone, but if I'm crouched, I believe it can still hit me.
okay?
Actually, it might not, because if I can't shoot it, okay, yeah, it can still shoot me here. I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
if
I
I'm like
see.
right here, it can definitely shoot me. But I would basically be just only have my head peeking out right here, and I don't know. It probably wouldn't be able to kill me very easily here, but yeah, crouched a little bit farther back, it'll be able to kill me. And
Okay,
standing,
because
it definitely will. But yeah, I
on Foxhole Planner it never really. So I guess then okay, so then if you put sandbags on it, then it's even more useless basically. Is that
yes,
the
if you put sandbags on this, it completely just destroys its line of sight.
got it?
I could
Got it.
basically just stand right here and it wouldn't shoot me
Okay,
because I don't I think that would be like overhead level. Um, so yeah, the AI sits on top of like the blank pieces, if that makes sense. The blank pieces are one level lower
got it.
than
Okay.
the AI level. So the only things that like you have to worry about AI getting blocked by is other pieces that provide AI. For example, like this AT blocks the rifle angle.
Do do bunkers have elevation on their guns? Can they shoot up, or is that
Uh, I I have not done much testing. I think they have a pretty decent range of like being able to shoot. I can't I can't really garrison an AT to really test that right now, but
Mhm.
I
Like I
think
don't have
it's
to worry
pretty
about building
reasonable.
if I
It's
build bunkers on a low point in the ground, I don't need to worry about it basically.
generally I think it's got a pretty decent
Yeah.
elevation to it.
There's the risk of like if there's like a spot where enemies can be that's above your bunkers, they can like throw like indirect things like mammons and tremolas at it without having a line of sight. So that is still a risk, even if
Yeah, you can if there's an elevation difference, they can still like yeah lob 250 millimeter and tremolas over things and avoid retaliation if there's no
Mhm.
line of sight. So um, I just thought of
Like that's
something I
that's like
wanted
don't
to
build
mention,
under a
but
cliff, but like a bump in
yeah.
the ground I don't need to worry about, right? Like
uh,
like
generally no. Like a lot of the stone fences in the world, a lot of them are basically equal to bunker height, like this. So
uh-huh.
you can build right up next to them, and then the AI will shoot over a lot of
Okay.
those. Um, What else? I just thought of something, but I forgot about it again. I wanted to mention. Uh, Also, one thing with the front of ATs is you see it's curved. That does it is pretty noticeable for firing angles, like MGs and stuff, shooting past them. You can see how recessed that actually is right there on the edge of the AT. So you can get a really nice, you can get a deceptively good firing arc on a piece that's like touching corners back here like this. Maybe. Maybe the hitbox is a little different than it looks. Oh yeah, but yeah, when I aim directly at it, you can see I can aim really sharp against it.
Can bunkers shoot over pillboxes?
Yes, pillboxes are like ATs are a little bit taller, but yeah, you shouldn't really run into problems with pillboxes in front of ATs.
Well, then why do they say
Easily.
never put pillboxes in front of defenses?
Well, it depends on the situation. Like, for example, if you're putting AT, well, we don't have an AT, we'll just use an MG for example here. If you put an AT here, then that allows infantry to just like run right up behind it, sort of. Well, you can like kind of crouch, but like with vehicles, it's not as big of a problem, I don't think, because vehicles are a bit taller.
Okay.
It depends on the situation. It's kind of situational. Actually, I don't know. ATs might be tall enough. I don't know.
I think you can't vault on top of a AT pillbox, so
I'm pretty sure you can. I know you can if you use a box blueprint. So, for example, like box blueprint vaulting. Yeah. So, for example, we'll just do an example on the rifle garrison. You can vault over it. Doing that. Pretty darn sure you can with AT pills. You can do that.
Yeah, we're making snoots now. Let's go.
Nice. Oh yeah, I was gonna mention frontline trenches, and also with facility defenses, it may be smart to invest in like a trench line directly in front of the bunkers, just to prevent people from placing like boxes to climb. Because if they don't have room to place a box, then they can't place a box to climb over. Because rifle garrisons are still climbable, as long as you can place a box in front of them. But if you can't place any sort of blueprint in front, then they can't climb them anymore. So if you're looking for hyper max security facility defenses, a checkerboard with like a small gauge rail or a trench, or well, trench would be optimal because then it leaves a husk when it's destroyed, and then you have to destroy the husk to place a box blueprint. That would be the hyper high security option, would be putting a trench directly in front of a checkerboard to prevent boxes from being placed for people to vault over. And in general, having octagons with EATs in front of your defenses is smart, because otherwise tanks and stuff will be able to very easily suppress infantry garrisons. And since the tank is doing no damage because it's just using 12-7, and bunkers don't take damage from 12-7 unless they are tier 1, they can just shoot these garrisons forever and they won't get any retaliation. But if you have octagons with EATs, then you can keep the tanks farther at bay and outside of the range that they would be able to suppress the base from. So EATs are your first line of defense. So in front of this pattern, I would probably stick like at least 4 EATs in front of it, so like one every 10 meters or so in the front, with trenches going into the bunker as well for people to easily come out. But if you lose that trench line, you better swap that that doorway into a firing port as fast as possible, because otherwise that's an opening into the bunker that collies can start streaming in if the garrisons get suppressed. What else? Am I forgetting anything? I'm forgetting everything, of course. There's no end to what to random bunker stuff to remember. Oh, and one last thing. Blueprints have much less obstruction than built bunkers. So, for example, to show that, I can get blueprints super close together in blueprint form, but I can't even get this square within 2 meters of an already built bunker. But I can get this blueprint like less than 1 meter away. So that's one thing to consider when building. Always blueprint your entire design before you start digging, because if you start digging and you want to like add more stuff later, it might not fit where you want it to. So that is like number one tip to actually like designing your build is always blueprint everything first, because you may not be able to place stuff later, especially on I wonder if I can show an example real quick. I can't think of it. But for example, on this piece here, I ran into problems where I demoed this piece because I was trying to like get the trenches across here and it wasn't connecting because of obstruction. Then I couldn't place it back. So then I had to demo this piece as well in order to place them both. So I had these pieces all tier 2 last night at one point, but I had to demo them to like get this trench to connect and stuff. So you'll run into that. And trenches also act similar to cursed corners, where they don't like to connect off of a piece that's adjacent to a corner like this with this angle. They trenches like and squares like to connect to bunkers that have a flat side to build up against with the adjacent pieces. Where this one has a corner that juts out. I could not build this trench while this was built. I had to blueprint this trench while this bunker was blueprinted as well. So blueprints are always try and design everything while it's still in blueprint form, and then build only build once you have the full design set out. Oh, also mods give small buffs. So like by mods I mean, for example, here we've got lockers. You can hover over it here, and it shows nearby bunkers have a small chance to not consume a soldier supply when a player spawns. Maximum of 10. So like there are small buffs on these. The main one you want to look for is the higher level garrison mod buffs that give nearby AT and howitzer garrisons fire slightly faster, max of 20. So if you add in 20 of these, you can get 20% faster fire rate on your bunkers. So that is, for example, my main piece has 3 ATs. You know, putting in more high-level garrison mods gives a much higher fire rate to essentially 3.6% or 3.6 AT garrisons essentially. So that is one to keep in mind. So yeah, each of these mods I believe is like 1% buff each to all bunkers that are connected within 40 meters. I think it's 40 meters. I don't actually know that for sure. It just makes sense because that's the distance tech also travels in this game. It would just kind of make sense that it also works like that. I think that's it, unless I've forgot something else that's extremely important, like I've already done multiple times. And this setup here is just for me to quickly submit components into the container without having to hand pull them out. It's a traditional crane trick. So don't forget your ambulances for fire. And last call to remind me about something you're still wondering about or that I need to bring up.
I may have missed it, but does the trick to extend the trench connectors with the small gauge tracks still
Oh
work?
yeah, that you can. I can. I did that over here. Yes, thank you. Uh, yeah. So there is actually a trench here. It's an underground trench. How I did that was I built a rail right over the top, and then it snapped. I was able to snap it across and dig it out. So yeah, you can. The trench connector does reach slightly longer than 10 meters potentially. It will snap a bit farther than 10 meters. So you can technically get tech to a base like 400 plus meters away. You can run a trench line halfway across a region to tech on the other side as long as it's within 40 connections. So that is something you can do, although you may lose some sanity, but it is something you can do if you really need the concrete tech or whatever from somewhere else.
This might be forbidden technology, but do you know how to place undergrounds into undergrounds with a lag switch?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's also kind of outside the scope of what I was looking for in this building. So yeah, I guess thank you guys for coming. Unless you have final call for random things I probably missed.
Maybe one by one cores.
Oh, I guess yeah, you can. We can mention that quick. Um, Generally you need 6 pieces altogether dug out, and then you can build a core. But once you blueprint the core, you can demo the other pieces that you just built off of it, as long as the core is blueprinted. And you also want to make sure you put a BMAT in so the blueprint doesn't go away while you demo the other pieces. But then you will be left with a 1x1 tier 1 core. So that is useful if all you want is the BB for AI uh, or whatever, just like as a useful like storage, a mega storage box that can hold 32K or whatever. Like if you want something like that, you can do a 1x1 bunker core by demoing with the button at the bottom. Well, I can't demo that because it's tier 3, but yeah, you can click the demo button within 3 hours of construction with the bunker base core blueprinted, and it will leave you with a 1x1. Which is useful for tight spots. Okay, I will end it there. Thank you guys for pushing me into all of the things I missed. Because yeah, it's hard to remember everything off the top of my head to mention. Thank you.